All right, to bring in our guests now to pick up with the conversation. New hope for MSMEs. Mr. Temitola Adekunle-Johnson. He's a special advisor to the President on job creation and MSMEs. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we commend the federal government. We're seeing the reforms taken, initiatives to boost, revenue generation, especially with what the MSMEs are doing. But I'd like to get your perspectives, how the federal government intends to take these reforms or initiatives a step further.
Okay. You see, first, from 2023, 2024, was to sort of look at the entire SME ecosystem, space, to sort of understand what their immediate needs are and how to ensure that they get those needs. Now we're the care has been increased. We're now we've identified those needs, especially the ones that are very cogent, that are very urgent for them. So we're now going to begin to take those needs one at a time and ensure that they are well implemented. And one of the first things we're going to do any moment from now is the risking fund, which we had spoken about on a number of occasions from the presidency. What all this will do for small businesses is that in most of their states, it will guarantee them loans at competitive rates. It's not going to be 28% or 25.5%. It's going to guarantee them loans at competitive rates because looking at it, SMEs are based in the different states. And so what we've done is that we from the presidency have brought in our commercial partners, the banks, and in discussion with the different state governors and the state governments, where the state government will bring in a certain amount of fund, minimum $1 billion to $2 billion. Minimum is $1 billion. If you decide to bring it up to $5 billion from the state, the private sector will match whatever it is that the state brings. And in that case, in every state, you are going to ensure that the funds are disbursed to SMEs at a much lower rate. No SME can really compete at 28.5% or 25.5% interest rates. So what that does is that it gives some sort of assurance to the commercial banks that are disbursing. And it also says that if Mr. A collects a facility and is not able to pay back as at when due, and if Mr. A is from XYZ state, you can take from my state whatever that person has collected to augment whatever it is that you're meant to disburse. So it's more like an insurance fund by the states. Okay. As a matter of fact, a few states have even begun this. Lagos State kickstarted this with a matching 10 billion naira facility with the Bank of Industry, and I think is Sterling Bank in this case. And as we speak, I know a number of governors are already in discussions with some of our commercial bank partners.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, I thought you weren't done with your thoughts. There's also the aspect of intervention funds from the government, which is actually helping to boost competitiveness and structural challenges. But there are also challenges from the aspect of these entrepreneurs, access to these funds, and also eligibility. That's the word I'm looking for, to access this fund. What has been done, to address some of these bottlenecks? We saw the partnership between SMEDAN and CSE to clear the hurdles in terms of registration. But the aspect of getting funds to thrive, it's also a question.
Okay, so when it comes to funds from the federal government to any of the agencies, the issue of access is usually not as much because it is a federal government fund given to, say, Bank of Industry, NEXIM, or any of those agencies to manage on behalf of the federal government. So the sort of criteria or the conditions SMEs would need to meet for such funds are usually not as stringent, basically. So in most cases, you hardly have issues with that. And that brings me to the scheme that we're projecting to sort of is a scheme that will touch three different spheres within the MSME ecosystem. It's a scheme that will train SMEs, because we have realized that you cannot train businesses for 3 months and expect them to go out and fly. So, honestly, so we are looking, we are working or we've worked on a scheme that will train an SME or SMEs who are interested in 20 different clusters, SME clusters, for a minimum of 1 year. So that 1 year, the SMEs they get funds for coming into training 3 times a week. Now, the catch here is that all the people training those SME, let's say you have a big fashion company or a big fashion enterprise, and we have about 20 SMEs who want to train in fashion, who generally say they want to train in fashion. So that big fashion cluster also gets paid for training each SME. So it's a win-win situation for the SME, for the government, and those that are training them as well.
Then it expands the value chain.
Oh, it expands the entire value chain. And at the end of the training, because we expect that it is not everybody that goes in for this training that will be serious. So at the end of the training, once the states and those trainers identify those that are serious, the federal government will go a step further by giving them funds to start their own businesses. First things first, we are going to open their own shops for them, pay for a 1 year rent for them. 1 full year rent for them, and we'll attach 2 people to them that the government will be paying for 1 full year. And we'll give them working capital. So it means that the government trains you 1 year, sets you up and watch you in another 1 year. And after that, the government will have upheld you for 2 years. And we believe that if you're a serious-minded person within that business, then within 2 years, you should have found your feet.
Indeed, and you would have been able to build a strong structure.
Yeah.
But one question beckons, I'm sure, if a young entrepreneur is watching and thinking, how do I get access to this scheme? How do I benefit from it? We'll pick up with that, Mr. Johnson, after the break. Do stay tuned. All right, Mr. Johnson, from that report, based on what you were telling us before we took that break, the initiative, which is a clear demonstration of government's commitment to support these MSMEs, will require a lot, especially what one of the respondents said there, navigating the value chain of the diverse sectors. But again, speaking on behalf of a young entrepreneur, how do they key into this initiative? Because a lot of them are still hanging in the balance.
Okay, fantastic. May I quickly touch on 1 or 2 things before we go into how they key into it? So I'll hold that question. Okay. Now, there are several, you see, information is very, very key. And I'll encourage Nigerian SMEs to hit up government agencies or parastatals responsible for day-to-day affairs of small businesses. For instance, go to SMEDAN's website and find out what they are doing. Go to CAC, find out how they are helping MSMEs. The Bank of Industry just launched a scheme targeted at women. It's called Guaranteed Loan Scheme. The Guaranteed Loan Scheme for women is called GLOW. You know, where a single female enterprise can collect up to 10 million naira for 5 years. The tenure is 5 years. And you know what the deal is here? The breaking news here is that it is at 7%. 7%. You can't beat that right now in the country. Now, if you're already doing such a business and you need to expand, you can collect up to 50 million naira for a lady. Okay. A woman-owned business or a business that is over 70% female-owned. You can collect 50 million to expand your business at 7%, 5 years tenure. Nothing beats that. Somebody was saying on my way here that SMEDAN and CAC's 250,000 free registration for small businesses is not possible. And I said to the person that it's possible because there's precedence. This was done sometime in 2022, 2021 during the COVID, when we had the COVID era. We did the same thing, 250,000. So both SMEDAN and CAC already have a blueprint and are sure of what they want to do. Yeah. Now, with regards to access. Now, when you talk about access, who are the target audience for this, the target market, for this scheme? We're looking at makeup artists. We're looking at petty traders. We're looking at hairdressers. We're looking at, if you want to start your own suya business. We're looking at people that do relatable businesses. We're looking at carpentry. You see, I've said this over. I've said this before, and I've said this before. There's an example I wanted to give you. So the sort of numbers these people make. Now we are going to. I'll jump at to that after telling you how people are going to access this funding, this scheme. It's going to be via a portal. We believe in using portal so that we're able to sort of watch the metrics and able to give editorial reports on how people were enumerated and whitelisted. So it's going to be via portal. Everybody will be on their marks, and the race will start at the same time for everyone, basically. So we'll set certain conditions that are going to be easily met by those small businesses, for them to ensure that they meet whatever conditions we meet, and they are whitelisted. Once you are whitelisted, we print the names of those that are whitelisted, and then we move on from there.
Okay, fantastic. And you just gave me an idea. I may be considering Suya business, so I can be part of this. Just kidding. But what about the expansion of the digital microloan? I know it's meant to promote financial inclusion, but those in the rural areas, how are they being, included into the scheme? Very briefly.
So if you notice that this government has been very big on inclusion, and it's to ensure that wherever you are in this country and you're a small business owner, you need a facility. So access to go and look for that facility should not be a problem. We should get into the rural area, and if you notice that both ministers, the Minister of Trade and Investment and the other minister, the Minister for Industry, have also been keen on this. Even the Minister for Digital Economy, Mr. Bosun Tijani, we have been very, very keen on it, and that's one of the reasons why the President even increased the single obligor for SMEs for loans from 1 million naira to 5 million naira.
Okay.
And they've been going around the entire country to ensure that everyone has access to this. We've partnered with digital app and mobile partners to ensure that everyone that wants this loan, that is qualified to have this loan, can access it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Temitola Adekunle-Johnson. Of course, I know there's a lot to talk about, but we'll leave the conversation there and monitor development as they affect these MSMEs. Thank you for coming on Weekend File.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. So let's take a break so you think of a business you can come up with.